Thank you, Chairman Ricketts and Ranking Member Shaheen. I appreciate you holding this meeting for us. And I want to congratulate all of my friends here. All three of us served together in the last Trump administration. And I so admire the work that you did then, and I'm really looking forward to the work that you're going to do as we come into the next iteration of the administration. I'd like to start, Ambassador Landau, with you on a topic that's very specific. You understand it. Your background as our ambassador to Mexico. You get it. It's something that is deeply concerning to me. I think a number of my colleagues are aware of this, but perhaps a number aren't. And that is what's happening with the Mexican government and their unfair, extra-legal campaigns to go in and confiscate the properties of U.S. companies. And you and I have talked specifically about the expropriation of Vulcan materials, their quarries, their deepwater port, their properties in Mexico. Those aggregates that they mine there in the Gulf of Mexico are deeply critical to the infrastructure that we actually put in place in places like Florida, Louisiana, because there's not an aggregate source. The seam runs out, so to speak, before you get there. What the Mexican government has done is come in and taken this property from Vulcan Materials, an Alabama company, an American company. And they have a mine in Quintana Roo. They've got this deep water port on the Yucatan Peninsula. And my fear is that that deep water port is going to be for sale to the highest bidder if the Mexican government gets its hand on it. And I can tell you who that highest bidder will be. It'll be the CCP. Think about having a deep water port that close, that proximate to the United States of America. I brought this seizure to the attention of the Biden administration. They did nothing to stop it. In fact, in the waning hours of the Biden administration, Ambassador Catherine Tai, the U.S. trade rep at the time, actually tried to go in and create some changes to the USMCA in a way that would quote, allow them to basically gut the claim that Vulcan Materials has and put Mexico on path to expropriate American properties throughout the nation. Senator Kaine and I subsequently led an effort to try to stop this plan to harm U.S. companies. And we eventually were able to get this taken care of. But it was a shocking to me that we as a nation, and certainly as a State Department, were willing to stand by and watch another nation expropriate the property of an American company. And Vulcan isn't the only one. That's just the one you and I have talked about more deeply. So Ambassador Landau, could I get your perspective on how U.S. companies abroad who are facing this type of illegitimate activity, whether it be in Mexico, Colombia, Honduras, how will you expect us to approach this?
Absolutely, Senator, and thank you for that question, and thanks to you for your distinguished service as ambassador to Japan and what you have done in your present role as a senator to try to make the State Department a better place. I know you've sponsored very important legislation that I hope we have a chance to work with. Going to your specific question, when I served as ambassador, my #1 job was to protect American interests in Mexico, where I was serving as ambassador. And so, you know, if an American company is being threatened or harassed by the local government, it seems to me all our ambassadors have to understand that that is not a favor they are doing the company by standing up for their interests. That is their job as the representatives of our country. We want to support Americans, whether they be businesses or individuals. I am, as you are, extremely concerned about the actions of the Mexican government with respect to the Vulcan Materials plant and the aggregate. I am familiar with that situation. I can certainly commit to you that on day one, if I am confirmed, I will call the Mexican government to address that problem and express our very strong concerns about what has happened to that American investment in Mexico. And I can also say that I would hope that if our friends in Mexico are watching this hearing, they will understand that it is not in their interest, if they are looking to renew their free trade agreement with the United States, to have a United States senator asking a nominee for Deputy Secretary of State about this terrible problem. The headline should be about great investment opportunities in all of our countries in North America. So it makes me sad for a lot of the Mexicans who I know are trying to increase trade, that we wind up stuck on this issue, and I very much hope the Mexican government will be able to resolve that problem even before I take office, if in fact I am confirmed.
Well,
more broadly,
there's one more point I want to cover with you before I run out of time. You were an exceptional ambassador to Mexico. and you're going to be in a position to deploy our ambassadors who are vested with the full power of independent action. They're plenipotentiary. So I just want to get your thoughts on how you see the deployment of America's ambassadors around the world, how you will empower them to act on our nation's behalf. How do you see the ambassadorial role?
I think the ambassadorial role is so important, Senator. I think one of the reasons I was very honored to be asked by the President to become Deputy Secretary of State is that I have been an ambassador recently, and I think we need to have someone in the State Department who understands at the highest levels, working closely with the Secretary and the President, what an ambassador does and how to increase and strengthen that feedback loop between our Washington policymakers and our embassies, which I'm afraid is somewhat broken in both directions. I plan to meet, if I'm confirmed, with every outgoing ambassador to go over what are your top 3 priorities. I need specific action items and results, and then have accountability for our ambassadors so that when they go to their foreign posts, they can make it clear to their teams, this is what Washington is expecting of us, and we need to actually produce results to make sure that our embassies are providing us with useful, actionable information. I think that feedback loop really has deteriorated, and I look forward to working closely with you. I know, given your experience as ambassador to Japan, you have thoughts on this, and I think there's a lot more we can do to improve the performance of our embassies and make it more relevant to policymaking.
There certainly is, and you'll find bipartisan support for this on this committee. I'm sorry my time has run out, and I'm sorry to get a chance to speak with our other 2 distinguished nominees here, but I wish you all 3 the best, and I encourage my colleagues to get these folks on the ground and confirm quickly. Thank you.